Hello YouTube, it's Ryan here with Hobbies of Man once again, and today we're going to be doing another manga review. We're going to be looking at the second arc of Dragon Ball, which is called the Tournament Arc, which is also the second part of the Emperor Pilaf's saga, or the Son Goku saga. It's, this and done, and then we move on to the Red Ribbon Army saga, and then we move on to something else, Tien Shan or Piccolo saga, I can't remember, and then that's the end of Dragon Ball. So second arc review, and yeah. So the premise of this arc is basically that Goku goes to the Turtle Hermit, to Master Roshi, for training after the ending of the previous arc, where he becomes a giant ape and he destroys all of Pilaf's stuff, and he and his friends decide to split up and come back together in a year if they decide that they need to do so or they want to do so. And so Goku spends this year over with the Turtle Hermit, and he eventually enters a tournament, which is why it's called the Tournament Arc. So the plotline here is very quick, very fast-paced. You go to Master Roshi immediately, you get to him, and Master Roshi, being a crazy pervert, tells Goku, okay, I don't really do training anymore, but since you happen to be a chick magnet for some reason, get me a hot girl and I'll train you. And so Goku goes, and he doesn't really understand what's attractive, so he goes and gets this gigantic woman that looks kind of like a gorilla, and then Roshi's like, no, that's bad. And he goes and tries again. No, that's bad. Eventually, Krillin shows up, which in this translation is called Kiruru or Kuriri, something like that. So I definitely think that this version of Dragon Ball needs to get a new translation or get re-edited or something, because it's really old school and it's really not in line with like what everyone thinks of in terms of names and styles for like Dragon Ball characters. But Krillin gets introduced, and Krillin actually ends up helping Goku figure out what's a hot chick. So they go to a town on the Flying Nimbus. They find this girl called Lunch, who apparently changes personalities if she sneezes. And I actually really like her character design. She's like, I don't know, really attractive looking, but she's also really wild, and it's also a girl with guns thing, and I really like that. And so they bring her back to Roshi, and Roshi's like, okay, bet. And she decides to live with them because she has nothing better to do, apparently, or she's on the run. I can't remember exactly, but there's like a reason why she decides to stay with them, but she basically is irrelevant to the plot line. And so they have completed the quest, and Roshi has decided to train them, but in a very Mr. Miyagi type style. He trains them by making them do a bunch of chores, and they initially don't really like it. They start to realize that this training, even though it's very basic and kind of simple, is actually really hardcore and very useful, because they start wearing their Turtle Hermit shells. And one day they just take them off, and they're like, holy shit, I can jump higher, I can run faster, I'm superhuman, right? Of course, Krillin is at peak human condition, and Goku, of course, is significantly stronger than Krillin. And so one day Roshi's like, okay, time to go to the tournament, the King of Heaven's tournament, I think is what it's called. The Tenkaichi Budokai, I think is the Japanese name. And they get there, and Roshi presents to them some nice Turtle Hermit school gis, right? And so they put them on and they start fighting. Krillin fights this guy called Bacterian, which is basically like the Ox King, but ugly, and he's smelly. And since Krillin doesn't literally have like a nose, like there's no nothing on his face that denotes him having a nose, he gets to beat this guy because he can't actually smell him. And I think it's hilarious. It's really ridiculous, and it's very funny. Then Yaki Chun, who's actually Master Roshi in disguise, battles Yamcha, who came back because Yamcha was also a martial artist. And Jackie Chun beats Yamcha pretty easily. Then we get to see Goku fighting against this pterodactyl guy called Giren. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure there's another Japanese Dragon Ball character called Giren in a later series. I think Dragon Ball Super. I'm not sure. I might be confused there, but I'm pretty sure that Giren is another Dragon Ball character in a different storyline. And I thought that was interesting, but this guy is like a pterodactyl. Goku, of course, beats him. Then we have Krillin and Jackie Chun, which is actually a pretty good fight. It's pretty interesting. I quite like it. Of course, Krillin gets knocked out because he cannot compete with Master Roshi, no matter how strong he is. Then Goku versus Nam, or Name, who is a hermit of some kind that was part of a village that doesn't have any water, and he's here trying to battle it out so that he can eventually get enough money to help his people, right? And he loses to Goku, of course. And then it's Goku versus Jackie Chun, and I won't tell you who wins, mostly because I don't remember, because it doesn't really matter. The point is that they fight, and it's a really good fight, actually. I think half of the arc is just them fighting, and it's really well done. I really liked it. I thought the choreography was good. The blocking was great. It's very easy to understand how the characters are moving, but also I think it's a pretty good character tension development building kind of thing. And the funniest thing and the craziest thing is that Roshi just kamehamehas the moon because Goku went hard and went insane, and he went to Ultra Beast mode. And so Roshi's like, okay, well, he can't look at the moon, so instead of cutting his tail off or whatever, let's just blow up the moon. And I'm like, what the hell, man? Why would you do that? And it's insane, and it doesn't affect the world at all. So very funny stuff. I quite liked it. Overall, the plotline was pretty great. It is starting to become a battle manga instead of a comedy manga at this point. So I think that that's great, really good and very meaningful because, it wasn't really a good comedy manga because it was just a little too racy, a little too raunchy for the average person, or for, mostly for American sensibilities, it's just not very doable, right? So as a comedy series. So yeah, in terms of characters here, we have to kind of mention that all of the old group from the first arc are back. Puan, Ulan, Bulma, Yamcha, of course, all show up to support Yamcha specifically because he's there at the tournament, but also once they see that Goku is there, to cheer him on as well. We got introduced to Lunch, but she basically became irrelevant 2 chapters after she was introduced. I very much doubt we'll see her again, although I would like to. Then, of course, Roshi and Jackie Chun are the same guy, and I actually really like when Roshi decides to dress up as Jackie Chun, and the reason why he does it, which is that his students are actually supernaturally gifted. They're way too good at their training, and he thinks that it's not going to be useful for them to win. He thinks it's much better for them to lose, but gain resolve to win again, and so that their training will go on to be much more significant and better later on. But the reality is that they didn't really need that. They're already, motivated enough, especially Goku. But both of them just have a desire to be better fighters, and Roshi kind of misjudged them, but also gave them a lot of good experience by taking them to this tournament. And I think that's a really interesting, kind of relatively serious and meaningful kind of way of looking at things from Roshi's perspective that you wouldn't really expect from a dumb fighting series or a ecchi comedy series, right? So I quite liked it. Krillin is a funny character when he's introduced, but Krillin is usually the butt of the jokes, and in this case, I think Krillin was the mean guy, and I think it's kind of funny. But also we get to see that Krillin is actually a victim of bullying when we get to meet all of the other people from his dojo or Buddhist association or whatever it's called. I can't remember the thing. The other people from his monastery show up and kind of bully him a bit. There's a few other characters that are introduced. One of them is called Nam, which I mentioned is the guy from a village that is there to try to get water for them, which Roshi helps acquire that water for him. And then there's another character who's Fan Ruan, I think is her name, and she's the only female character that is in the Tenkaichi tournament. And she beats Nam, or she almost beats Nam by stripping. So it was just a fan service character in the truest sense of the word. There really isn't anything important about her at all. World building wise, we get to learn about this tournament that happens every once in a while. I think it's every couple of years. And of course, this tournament is also, I think, the tournament that they always use going forward. It's the strongest under the heavens tournament or something like that. And we don't really learn anything else. We don't know why Goku transforms into a monkey at this point. We don't know anything about Ki or anything like that. We just know that Roshi and Goku can both do a Kamehameha, and that's it. And yeah, so that's it for world building. Honestly, there really isn't anything going on so far. In terms of artwork, it's really great. It's simple but super effective. I really love how Toriyama manages to convey so much with so little, and it's really, really well done. In terms of fan service, there's a little bit, like I mentioned. There's Lunch, of course, is a fan servicey character. She disappears, so eventually they bring in Fanaru on, and she also is a fan servicey character. Like I said, she almost wins a battle by just stripping. And that's really all there is to it in terms of that. Now, for a rating, I think this is a 4 out of 5. I think it's less good than... Well, actually, not really. Okay. I'm not sure how to place this because in terms of enjoyment level, it's more or less the same as the first arc. As in, I didn't really like it that much. Like, I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it. I'm holding out for nostalgia's sake. Like, I am nostalgic for the series, and so I remember it fondly, and so even though I don't love it, I'm still enjoying my time with it. But I feel like this transition into more of a fighting series is really good, and some of the fights were actually really interesting and well planned out. And so I like that aspect, but I feel that the transition is a little bit off-putting because it's kind of really wild and very direct and just like from one page to the next. And also, I'm not really invested in the majority of the characters because they're just there to be fodder, right? So I liked it, but I'm not sure if I like this better than the first one or if I like them the same or what. I haven't really been able to decide that. So for now, it's a 4 out of 5. I'm going to put it at the same level as the previous arc, and I'll come back and decide which one I like better later on. So yeah, overall, great stuff. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video as well. Thank you guys very much for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and all that stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next video.